Welcome to the live space. Obviously, it's been a long while since we did a live space like this. Well, last time I had the honor that you invited me to one of your live space, but obviously, as I said, it's been a long while. It's been a long while. How are you doing, bro?
I'm doing well. It's as you said, it's been a while since we have done this, and I'm very excited. And thanks for having me again, Gruget.
No, totally, totally. And yeah, for everyone that's been listening, so obviously we've been doing this for quite a while now. We've done a few in the past, and definitely we've gained some tractions. We've had people listening, and international La Liga fan as well. So obviously, our both our profiles are very dedicated to talk about Villarreal related. But obviously, there are other profiles out there also talk about Villarreal. But our focusing point is really about the Yellow Submarine, and any updates and any stuff, you can hit our profiles, and obviously you can go and check that out because we post regularly on our profiles. So just a big shout out first, just like we always do. And hopefully, if our lives are not that hectic, we can do these space more often, right?
Yeah, sure. Why not? That's the whole point of this to engage everyone, especially the VRL fans. So yeah. So I'm excited for this.
Perfect. All right. Well, I think, as I said in the post before I kind of scheduled a space, we do have plenty to talk about. I think, well, this weekend we have to wait a little bit until Monday. We won't be playing this weekend until Monday against Espanyol at home. That will be our first fixture in February, stepping into February. But yeah, no, plenty to talk about. I think we should kick off with some of our impressions. Basically, is how we've kind of looked and how we watched Villarreal during the first half of La Liga season, right? This season,
Yeah.
and I'll let you start first.
Mhm.
But how have you seen them, and how would you rate the performance of the first half of this La Liga season?
Wow. Okay. It's a lot of yeah. It's a lot of things to unpack there because it has been it's been a roller coaster of performances. In one way, we have been performing outstanding in the league. Very impressive, and we improved the home record. We used, I remember, like maybe a year and a half ago, we struggled at home, but we were very good at picking up points away. And this year, especially this first half of the season, we were very dominant in the home matches. And of course, there are some matches against the big teams where it's we don't you don't expect to get all points, and that's although we would have liked them to maybe get at least some points, but other than that, the league form has been really good in the first half.
Mm.
Um, and we can talk about the Champions League form as well. But in terms of the first half in the league, I think it has been solid actually in the league. It's just the other tournaments that has been causing a lot of frustration and yeah, and a lot of disappointment. But how do you feel about it? If you think about just the league, we can talk about the Champions League as well. But
Yeah, we'll get into that in a bit. I think it's,
mm,
it's one of the things that we'll definitely want to talk about because I think a lot of the international football fan or soccer fan will definitely look into, what has happened to us in the Champions League. But we'll get into that in a bit.
yeah,
I think to your point, the first half of our season 25-26, I think we've done so well. I think Marcelino has also uh, uh, kind of voiced out how we've really performed well and making sure that we're grabbing as much points as many points as we can. And the performance have been outstanding. I think during the first half of the season, I think we lost against the big three clubs, Atletico, Barca, and of course Real Madrid. Um, and then, of course, to your point, we also have like the midweek Champions League matches as well. But I think overall we've played really well. We definitely won against some of our let's say direct rivals, right? So obviously the Athletic Bilbao, we won at home back in September. Um, we've also, if I'm not wrong, it was kind of an exciting match back in November as well, end of November against the Real Sociedad away.
Yeah.
And that was kind of a statement that I think, the team has made. Yeah, I mean, again, looking at just La Liga, I think I will give them even 9 out of 10 for the first half of the season. What about you? What kind of rating will you give them out of 10?
Out of 10, yeah, I think I agree. 9 out of 10, and especially like how strong we started in the league, defeating Girona by 5 goals to 0, just the second match week. Um, Also winning away against Sevilla was also a match where usually we struggle, we get overwhelmed by the atmosphere, and Sevilla is not the same Sevilla anymore, but still,
Mm,
they still have that, the energy and the aggressiveness in their style, and getting a win there away, strong performance. Also, the Bilbao, you mentioned the Bilbao winning there against the direct rivals. And a match that maybe we should have won as well is against Betis at home. I think we were like, I think 2 goals up,
mm,
and then
mm.
yeah, we started to drift and yeah, getting a little bit sloppy. So we got a draw there, but yeah, overall I'll say yeah, 9 out of 10 performance in the league.
I'm pretty sure that our rating for Champions League and Copa del Rey will be completely different, right? But we'll get
Yeah.
into that. We'll get into that in a bit. But I think overall, the investment that has been kind of put into at the beginning of the season, obviously because we qualified for Champions League football, we've made some significant selling, in terms of a few very important players, and we kind of got that, economic boost at the beginning of the season. Obviously, we signed new players as well. How do you see the team now sort of performing, and the team sort of, having the new players in the squad? How do you see it so far? I'm going to pick up one player in particular. I'm going to pick up George Mikadadze, because obviously he's the record signing, and of course together with Renato Vega as well. So, what would you say about them, or what's your comment about them?
That's another thing that we don't take in. We haven't mentioned yet, but all the new signings, of course, selling 2 or 3 of the biggest, I mean, the key players. Bayana is a strong player to replace. And Body, who had a great season as well, just being in his first year of in Spain. That guy leaving, so it wasn't. It hasn't been easy to like transition, and with especially with the new players, as you mentioned, Mikau Totse. Um, but I felt maybe it took some time. With every player, with a new signing, it takes some time to get adjusted to the league and the language and the tempo, everything. But as for Mikotatse, I think you mentioned him. For him, I think he maybe had a slow start in the beginning. He was being replaced very early on, but
Hmm.
for him, I think maybe his season started really maybe this year. I think if you look at the consistent minutes,
Yeah,
him scoring as well, that
yeah,
helps. But I think maybe in the beginning he struggled a little bit with the language, the tempo, being replaced in and out, injuries. So overall,
mm,
I think the players have, especially in defense, they have integrated well. Like Mourinho has integrated very well into the team.
yeah,
Renato Vega, Rafa Marin, all of them. I think that especially defenders have reacted very well to it. But maybe the offensive players, it took some more time. Uh,
yeah.
to get into that. What do you think? Where do you think?
I,
How do you
I
expect?
think. I think there are some interesting stuff that you've just pointed out there. I think defensive wise, I think it is. I mean, it's not an excuse, right? I think from last season and looking at this season, I think that was one of Marcelino's kind of pain points. He wanted to solve that. He wanted to make sure that we have a solid defend. And yeah, no, to your point, Mourinho has really stepped in as a very decent, right back. I think his natural position is centre back, of course. And then we also have Renato Vega, and of course, just having Rafa Marin. I think he's also proving that he's a very decent potential centre back, yet to grow. And yeah, in terms of offensive, I think George Migatatse took a bit of time, to your point, the language barrier. And I think some of the fans as well kind of voiced out at the beginning of the season and said, this is not the Migatatse that we've kind of heard about from Leon, right? Because when he was in Leon, I think his playing style was completely different. But then you pointed out about the language barrier there, the playing style, different league, different environment. I think that has an impact.
Mm.
But then obviously gaining more minutes and playing more matches with the team together, I definitely have seen him improved and also more confident, right? I think confident is one of the key things for a goal scorer, right?
Yeah.
You need confident, you need goals, and then kind of from there you pick up the momentum and stuff. So no, I completely agree. I mean, for me again, just looking at the two record signing, I just wanted to point them out. But good. So I'm pretty sure that we won't like what we're going to be talking about, but we definitely have to talk about our poor performance in the Champions League and another yet another short run in Copa del Rey. Which one should we start first?
I think we can start with the Champions League, maybe.
Sure.
Yeah.
And if I mean, if you've been following the Champions League football, if you've been following a little bit about Villarreal as well, I think this has been kind of painful for me to say it, but it has been a ridiculous Champions League season for us. Actually, we're the second last team out of the entire table this season's Champions League football. If I may start first, I think we had a very high expectation. Qualifying obviously last season to qualify for Champions League, we were all hyped up for that. We started off with obviously Luis Junior kind of pushing the ball into the net. First match in London against Tottenham, and of course that was the huge embarrassment I think against Pavos, and that was where we had a absolute night to forget in Cyprus, and I think from there onwards, I just didn't see a Champions League team playing in the Champions League. I would rather, I was more watching a team that show up, kick a few ball, try to score, and kind of that's it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, overall, again, there's nothing to hide from. It's just a disappointing Champions League season. What about you?
No, I completely agree with your assessment. I mean, we had so high expectations for this Champions League the Champions League, especially after last year's performance and how well we started in the league as well this year, like the first half of this year. I mean, we were so excited to see how can we how well are we going to compete in the Champions League. It's okay to wanting to compete against Espanyol and also Suna and those teams, but like how do you perform against the biggest and the best teams in Europe? And I think the first match against Tottenham, I think performance wise we were like competing, we were creating chances, but I think that mistake, it didn't help to have a good start. That was a very unforgivable mistake to make. It's one thing to concede maybe a header or a goal that you are okay with and you can accept. But to concede that kind of goal, I think it didn't help, especially in the first opening match where there was a lot of hype. Um, you mentioned also the Paphos match. That was also another forgettable match, a match where we should have won. Actually, we should have won and regained the form after the defeat. But it's the form wise, it's night and day. I feel, as you said, we just showed up, played few passes, and when things started getting tough, we lost it. We just lost it. We
Yeah.
and many of the goals came because of our mistakes. It wasn't a lot of mistakes that it wasn't because they performed better in some matches. Yes, I guess the biggest teams, we obviously they were much better, but in the matches where it was even, I think a lot of it was because of us giving away the ball, us making silly, stupid passes in a dangerous area. It was self inflicted injuries basically.
Mm,
so
mm,
so that's I think the most disappointing thing about it is that we hurt ourselves more than the opponent hurts us. So
yeah.
that yeah. So yeah.
I think you pointed out there, which is, some unforced kind of errors from ourselves, and definitely, the chances that we had. And I think a lot of the, if the listeners have been watching Champions League football, we all know that if we get a goal scoring chances in Champions League, you've got to nail them. If you miss those chances, they're not going to come easy again. So I think we missed a lot of those. We were not clinical enough. We were not, scoring the chances that we should score. I think a lot of the Champions League matches that we played, 100% there were goal scoring chances that I would say even 60% or 70% it should have been a goal, right?
Mm.
Um, but yeah, no, that one, I think, in terms of Champions League, obviously we're out already. There will be no more midweek matches, so we can just focus on the league. And I think we turn to the other one, which is yet another short run in Copa del Rey.
Mm.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think there is an exact explanation, or even how to kind of just analyze the reason. But for the last 2 seasons, I think, or even 3 seasons in a row, I think we got knocked out by lower ranked teams in Spain. Um, I I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know if it is because the club obviously is not putting much focus on Copa del Rey, for example, or it's just the fact that it just doesn't seem like it's our tournament.
Yeah, and it doesn't seem it hasn't been that there. It hasn't been our tournament for since I can remember actually. Like every time we play, we always get knocked out early on. Um, Against lower sides. And at this point, I think it's just a mental thing about it. It's just same with the Champions League. For this year, especially, it was after when you mentioned we didn't score, we didn't convert
Yeah.
chances. We would have converted those in the league, but as soon as we play Champions League matches, we miss them. We miss the goals, or we
Mm.
we make a final like a bad pass, or we make a mistake. Everything that went well for us in the league went against us in the Champions League. So, uh, in some way, maybe it's just at some point, maybe it's just a mental thing. When you constantly,
Yeah.
when you play Champions League, you play Copa del Rey. It's just something about it makes you maybe hesitate, or
Yeah.
it's very you can't explain either. It's just you see, but we as fans we can see it on the map, like we can see how they're performing, but
Yep.
it's very, yeah, it's just very hard to explain how a team like Villarreal goes from winning 5-0 against Girona to to losing against Paphos the next week. It's just yeah,
Unexplainable,
yeah,
unexplainable. And I think the Spanish media, obviously the football media, have been talking about this quite a lot this season. Kind of, questioning as well, right? I think some of the pre-match interviews with Marcelino, that question was brought up as well, which is like, what is happening? Why is this, happening? And I would say it's completely day and night to what you said earlier. We're playing brilliantly in La Liga, and I think it's the mentality aspect. You talked about that. And I think in La Liga, once you have a good form, once you have a good run, you're confident enough to go to, match after match. And once you get back into Champions League, or once you get into, like a one-off match in the Copa del Rey, you're just, you just go out there and see what happens, right? And I don't think that's the game plan that you should go about. You
mm,
shouldn't be going out there and see, okay, let's see what's happened, or I'm just going to put these players on and let's see if we can score.
yeah,
And definitely personally, when I watch the team play, you will see how pump up they are in about first 10-15 minutes of the match.
yeah,
You see their passes, you see some of the players' movements, you see, how they've mentally prepared for the game and what the game plans are. As soon as you watch the match, just a bit, and you would definitely say, all right, this match is going to be a long suffering one, or this one is going to be an entertaining one that we will have, dominating the ball, or we'll have, exciting runs, etc., etc. So I think it has an impact,